down.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wasn't planning on filming this video, but I was making another video and I didn't like it, and I knew that my heart wanted to film this video, so here I am gonna film this video. Not sure if I'm actually gonna upload it, but if I do, I was really brave too. So I got actually diagnosed with asthma, and it's something new. I've never had asthma, not even as a child. No one in my family has asthma at all. So I'm going to be talking about the steps, the symptoms that I didn't notice. I actually didn't notice any symptoms. I didn't think I had anything wrong with me. I thought it was just something like from like allergies and stuff. I never thought that. And my hospitalizations, I actually had 2, and my last hospitalization was actually where I got diagnosed. My first one I'll explain later. And finally, when they told me, they gave me all my supplies that I needed, and basically the whole journey, what I felt after and how I feel almost maybe 2-3 weeks after that I got diagnosed. And I'm gonna be giving you guys my full story, so let's just jump right into the video. By the way, just a disclaimer, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. Sorry for me. It's just something that I've been living with, and I know that more people are probably to get diagnosed or are going through the same thing I am and didn't know what to do, and I'm just basically putting this out there for those people and people who also just want to watch and enjoy. So it's gonna be a pretty long video, so grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, and let's just go ahead and do the video. Okay guys, so if I get out of breath, y'all know why. When I talk a lot, I get out of breath, and I have to like take deep breaths, so yeah. So this first started last year in March. The first memory that I have of ever having an issue was actually when my parents left to Mexico. They actually left to Mexico for 2 weeks. So I was actually at home with my sister and my boyfriend literally all the time, and I wouldn't be able to sleep in my room because I wouldn't be able to breathe. And basically what I mean by that is, like, literally right at night when I would be ready to go to sleep, I would not even be able to go to sleep, or I would fall asleep and then wake up and I would have to sit up because I'm out of breath. Like, I would start wheezing, and I'll probably put in like clips of like what I'm talking about, like wheezing sounds like, if I could find any. But it would sound like wheezing. I wouldn't be able to breathe. It would be very difficult. I could obviously breathe through my nose, but it was very hard to breathe through my mouth. And when you get like that, it starts freaking you out, and then I would need to get out of my room. And even that, getting out of my room, I would try to go to sleep in my mom's room. It would not work. I just could not freaking breathe, and I had no idea why. I thought it was just a dust, or I thought it was just like a phase that I was going through, and I didn't know what this phase was. It just was happening. So I was like that for those 2 weeks, and a little after that, and then it just stopped. I was completely fine after that, and moving on to a year later, which is this year, I got sick from being around kids at school. Kids always get sick, and I ended up getting sick as well. And again, the same thing happened where I constantly would get out of breath. Let's say like I would go to Walmart and I would walk around and I'll be like this. I would walk a little and I would need to stop, and I would be like, and I would have I live like work a block away, and even me working, I couldn't breathe. Coming home, like before I went to work, I was feeling this symptom, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna push through, I'm gonna go to work, and if I still feel this way, I'm gonna go ahead and talk to my mom. And I told my mom this like a year ago during March, but she wasn't here, and I felt better after like 3 weeks of her being back, and I was fine. Or the 2 weeks, so the 1 week that she was back, I felt better. And so again, I didn't know what was going on. So moving on forward, I come home from work, and I'm talking to my mom, and I'm out of breath completely, and I'm letting her know, I'm like, Mom, like, I can't breathe. Like, she notices that as well, because I'm talking to her. I didn't even mention anything to her, and this is also why my eyes are watering, I'm guessing, so much lately, because my allergies, I also have allergies, like really bad allergies. I'll let you guys know about that too. So moving on forward, I'm talking to my mom, and I'm like, okay, like, Mom, like, I can't breathe. Like, you could literally hear me struggling taking each and every breath that I'm like telling her. Like, I couldn't breathe at all, and it was like something that it's unexplainable until you go through what I went through. And the same thing was happening. I was wheezing and all of this stuff, but this wasn't happening at night, it was happening during the day. And I was like, maybe it's because I'm sick. So my mom was like, this isn't normal, and she took me to the hospital. So the hospital, it admitted me quickly. They have like this ABC thing where the first thing is airways and something like that. My cousin's actually working in, like, she works in a hospital, and she told me this. So I was quickly admitted into the hospital. They took me in, and they put me on a breathing machine. Let me go ahead and get the item that they actually put me on, because I actually took it home from the last time I was hospitalized. Let me go ahead and bring it. Okay, so this is what the machine looks like. Oh my god, like, I hate holding this because it just reminds me of the last time I was hospitalized. So this is what they do. They attach this to a machine that gives you oxygen. So you basically put this around, and you have it like this. And that's what I was on for about 2.5 hours, maybe. Mind you, we left like around 7, and I didn't come home until like 2, 3 in the morning. So I was there all night long. And I didn't think it was anything serious. I thought it was just gonna be a quick trip, and I came back home. But that wasn't the case. Let me breathe, y'all. Oh my god. Okay, moving forward, after being 2 hours doing this medication, they were like, okay, we're gonna go ahead, and they were gonna take me x-rays. And by this time, they had connected me onto an IV and started giving medication. I don't remember the medication they gave me. The first one was about 30 minutes. The other one was about an hour or 2 long. But within like 30 minutes, they even mentioned it to me that this medication was really, really strong. And when I was in the hospital, I was freezing cold. Like, my whole body, like, you know, when you're in the hospital, it's always cold there. My whole entire body was cold, but just in this little portion right here where my IV was in, it was hot. It was burning hot. And I kept telling my mom, like, oh my god, like, even the slightest movement, like, I would move like this, and it would hurt. And I kept telling my mom, I was like, Mom, like, oh my god, my IV is hurting, it's really hot, like, is this normal? So my mom went ahead, and love my mom, she went ahead and called the doctor. And the doctor, mostly every single time we go to any type of hospital, the doctor always talks to me, because my mom is Mexican. She doesn't really understand English. She mostly talks Spanish, what I personally find rude, because, like, if I'm underage and, you know, your mother is wondering what the hell is going on with you, why you're on the breathing thing, why is this hurting, like, she wants to know answers too. So I was kind of like the translation between my mom and the doctor, and which kind of sucked, because I would rather her, I feel like I didn't explain everything fully, like, if a doctor would explain it correctly. I basically just said everything that I remembered to my mom. So like, again, a lot of things were going in through my head. I was freaking out. I kind of got like lightheaded at this point, and I kept calling them and kept calling that. Eventually they just completely took me off the IV. They took out the medicine, and they even checked if the IV was put in wrong. It wasn't. It was just how strong this medicine was. And literally the whole entire bag was full, and I probably haven't even gone halfway, and they already took it off of me. My mom was upset because she was like, this is supposed to, like, make you feel better, like this and that, but no. So they ended up taking x-rays and everything. Around 1 in the morning, finally they told me what was wrong with me, and they told me that I had bronchitis. They ended up giving me an inhaler to use, to take home, basically. And I was like, cool, whatever, let's go home. I didn't go to school for the next day because I came home really late, and again, I couldn't breathe, and they were too scared to like send me to school and then have like another like breathing issue. So that was last March. No, not last March. This was this year, like around, I would say like around March, April. It was probably like around April. Yeah, April. It was around April because I remember when I went to Texas, I had to take my inhaler with me. So I think this happened, okay, this happened last month? Yeah, this happened last month, okay? So about like 4 or 5 months later, again, this happens again. I get sick. And I guess this trigger, every single time I get sick, it triggers it. So I got really, really sick again, and the same issue happened again. But the thing is like, it happens out of nowhere. No. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh my God. Okay, so before I got hospitalized, before I got sick, I would wake up every single night, like around 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, not being able to breathe, completely out of breath and wheezing and basically like gasping for air. But I wouldn't tell anyone anything because I thought it was just normal. I don't know what was wrong with me. Like you're sometimes in shock and don't notice like signs that are really big. But if you're out of breath and you're waking up like 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, go tell your parents, go to the hospital, go get yourself checked out, because that's not normal. And I thought it was for some reason, because this has just been an ongoing issue that I've been having for a while. So I was just like, oh, it's nothing, you know. But I would always wake up my boyfriend and be like, babe, like, oh my God, like I can't breathe. There's nothing he can do because he's all the way at his house. So yeah, so I would wake up every single night from like those 5 months not being able to breathe. And finally I got sick again, and it triggered this issue that happened 5 months ago. Again, I couldn't breathe, but I literally stayed home all day on Saturday, and that's rare. I'm always busy, I'm always doing something, but that day I just felt so sick. I didn't want to go out, and again, the same thing happened where I couldn't breathe, I was wheezing, and it got really bad at one point that I started freaking out. And I had to call my mom, and you know how moms are, they kind of get like upset. They're like, oh my God, like they think you're just being dramatic. But this issue's happened before, so she was like, okay, I'm going to take you to the hospital. So we go to the hospital. It's like 30 minutes away. I'm in the car like wheezing my ass off, trying to get air. And we finally arrived to the hospital. Again, right away they admit me inside. They put me again. They give me pills to help me breathe, and then they give me my own private room. And again, they put me on this mask. This is actually the mask that I used in the hospital. If I have pictures, I'll insert them. But yeah, I probably look really ugly and distressed, but I was really distressed and terrified basically. So I was there for not that long, maybe like 4 or 5 hours, maybe a little less. I was there from like 6 to like 9, 6, 7, like 3 hours. 3 hours. I was there for like 3 hours. It was very quick. I think they gave me 4 to 5 breathing treatments because I was really bad and they could hear it. And the lady was talking to me. She was like, okay, like tell me your symptoms, like what have you been feeling, like this isn't normal, and other things. And I forgot to mention, I was telling her what I was feeling in that moment, but I completely forgot to mention my symptoms from the previous nights and for the past 5 months. And I was like, oh, like I completely forgot to mention, like I've been having this issue. And I told her everything, and she was like, oh, that is really important, like thank you for telling me, because you really want to tell your doctor everything that has been going on with you to give you a good diagnostic. And so right away afterwards, she was like, she heard me again, she watched me breathe a little, and she's like, oh my God, like I can see that you're really struggling to take breaths. And she was talking to me. She was like, okay, like I'm gonna go ahead and give you a diagnostic, and you have asthma. And in that moment, I kind of was shocked because, like I said in the beginning of this video, no one in my family has asthma. And not my mom and my dad, like nobody in my family has asthma. And it's just something that has been, like, out of nowhere, and I've never had symptoms when I was a baby, nothing. So this literally came out of nowhere. And I started to get nervous because another doctor came in, and my mom was worried because when you use a lot of your inhaler, you honestly have to pump so much. If you really need a lot, the most you can do is 6. That's what he told me, no more than 6, like every 2 hours or something like that. I'm not currently using any of my inhaler right now. My asthma is pretty calm, like I'm pretty good right now. And I haven't been waking up in the middle of the night, so I thank the God for that. So in that moment, I was really scared. Later on, my mom was talking to me. She was like, hey, you know, I want to talk to them and ask them if there's other alternative instead of you using an inhaler. Because if you guys don't know yet, an inhaler is just a bunch of steroids. It could actually make you gain a lot of weight, and it can also thin your bones. And my mom was definitely worried about all those symptoms. She doesn't want me to obviously gain more weight. She doesn't want my bones to be thin, to be more thin or anything like that. I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology, but that's basically what I heard. And at this point, I started to get nervous, and I got really nervous because I've never had a health issue, and this is something that in that moment I didn't realize, but afterwards, when I got my depression, I realized that I was to be stuck with this issue for the rest of my life. Sometimes it goes away and you're good, but for now, I know that I'm gonna have to live with it and treat myself every single day to get better, and up to the point where I don't need to use my inhaler so much. I also believe that's why I gained so much weight. I am way overweight right now, and I think it's because of those 5 months that I couldn't breathe, that I would be using my inhaler every single night to help me breathe. So yeah, basically a doctor came. My mom basically told her, like, hey, can you tell her something? She's really nervous, this and this and that. I really wanted to cry, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna cry, I'm good. Well, because I didn't cry, a couple of days later after getting out of the hospital, I felt like a different person. I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I was in a dream world, and by that I mean, like, let's say like you get like shrooms or something. This is so wrong, but like, let's say you get like shrooms, or you're taking like some type of drug, or when you're drunk or something and you feel like out of it, you know, you're yourself, but you feel like you're in a different place. That's how I felt like, but without any like drugs or anything or drinking. I felt like I was in La La Land. I feel like I wasn't in actual world, in actual life. I feel like I was just dreaming. I feel like I was gonna wake up at some point, because it hadn't hit me. So I ended up talking to my mom a little, and I was like, she was like, how are you feeling? I basically told my mom everything I was feeling. I was like, hey mom, like, I feel really sad. I've been feeling sad for the last couple of days. I don't know how to deal with this. And she was like, you know what, I felt the same thing too. When I found out that I had kidney stones, I thought I was gonna die, because she didn't know at the time what kind of kidney stones she had. She didn't have the ones that, thank God, she's okay, she's fine, she didn't die obviously. But yeah, she basically was telling me, she was like, yeah, like, I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to. I just basically had to deal with myself, and I wish that someone, you know, had told me these things that I'm telling you. And she basically said that you're not alone, that someone out there has the same issue as you, and this and this and that. Like, she told me a whole thing that honestly made me feel so much better. Also, when I was actually hospitalized, when I went to go use the restroom, there was a kid in there that was actually probably like 10 years old, and he was on a breathing treatment too. And honestly, that broke my heart, because I know what this feels like, and for someone who is so freaking young, I'm gonna start to cry. For someone who is so freaking young, he's like 7 to 10, you guys, like, I don't want to cry, but he's 7 to 10 years old, and he has to live with this. He probably can't run around, he can't have fun, and it was a Saturday night, you guys, and he couldn't be at home playing with his toys. Instead, he was there at the hospital, you know, on this machine, same as me, getting air treatments. And you know, I honestly didn't know this whole entire world until I got into it myself, and it just broke my heart so freaking much. And I was talking to my mom, I was like, Mom, like, look at this kid, like, he's so young, like, and he has the same issue as me. Like, imagine how his father must feel, like, just sitting there watching his child who's so freaking young go through this. And it just honestly broke my heart. I'm not trying to cry, y'all, but my eyes are really watery. But yeah, it just, my heart goes to the little ones that have to struggle with this issue, with any issue in general. And yeah, and for the next like week I felt depressed. I felt like, even though I had my mom, the most thing I felt was depression, and I felt that I was alone. Let's put it out there. I felt like I was alone, and I felt like I didn't have anyone, even though I have so much people around me who love me, who generally will do anything for me, and I appreciate them so much. I just felt like I just wanted to process this on my own, and I didn't feel like talking about it at all. Now I'm open to talking about anything that I'm going through. And yeah, that's basically my journey on how I got diagnosed with asthma. I feel so much better today. I feel stronger than ever. And if you guys have any questions, any questions about anything about asthma, about me, about my experience, about your experience, please leave it in the comments down below. I'll be happy to hear them. And hopefully this helped you guys feel not alone. Trust me, I'm still struggling with this issue. I haven't had an asthma attack since that day that I went to go to the mall with my boyfriend. I haven't had anything. I thank God so much. I truly believe God has a plan, and you know, I have a lot of faith in him that he will take care of me. So yeah, I guess that is gonna be my video for you guys today. I'm sorry if it's a little bit of a downer, but I definitely wanted to do something a little bit different on my channel. And yeah, so I hope you guys liked this video, and I'll see you guys later. Next video is gonna be a lot more happier, and yeah, I love you guys. Bye. Done.